Here's our entire conversation with John Cena in his full Peacemaker costume about the new Suicide Squad movie and his return to WWE. The 16-time WWE World Champ is one of the stars in the Suicide Squad. Cena talked about the sequel and more with our Brian Truitt.
Brian, hello. It's your friendly neighborhood Peacemaker just in the backdrop of a subtle hotel room here in Hollywood.
Wow. You know, I was going to ask you, like the third question was going to be, do you enjoy how much do you enjoy the Peacemaker costume? So we'll just start there.
Yeah, it wears well. No one looks at me strange. You know, I've locked myself in this hotel room because people chased me up here thinking I was some sort of performer on Hollywood Boulevard.
What's the appeal? Is it just really comfy, even with the helmet?
So the appeal is its absurdity. And, we have a wonderfully beautiful, absurd movie that, nobody is ready to see, but everybody needs in their life. And I want to get that message out. And a lot of these characters are unknowns. So I think the more familiar you can get people with seeing this, the better experience they're going to have at the movie.
I mean, I saw your upcoming WWE schedule. They've got you back on the road big time. Obviously you got to do the premiere and other stuff, but they're not wasting time.
If we're going to put it in terms of they and me, they asked me to come back for 2 or 3 dates, one being SummerSlam and then 2 more broadcasts to promote SummerSlam. And I said, I want to do as many as I can. I'm not looking to just, swoop in and come back. I'm always, my heart's in the ring and I want to be in the ring. So it's most all of the appearances are non-televised.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Just want to be there and have some fun and welcome back audiences and hopefully give not only the audiences, but the superstars as well, a chance to perform in front of energized crowds and, just get everybody back up to speed. And if that's my little piece in the chess match, then so be it.
Before we get into your turn, I want to talk about Suicide Squad. So far, you've gotten to do a movie and a season of a TV show as Peacemaker. What did you instantly love about playing this guy?
Take a look. He's so ridiculous. It is awesome to see. And especially in the Suicide Squad, specifically, Peacemaker opposed with Bloodsport. Mm-hmm. The only 2 members of the squad that have damn near identical abilities, but are so different in personality. So you have a bunch of broken misfits who are heavily flawed. And then you put on top of that a nice alpha male rivalry and a plan to save the world. It really does make for an entertaining ride. One
of the best early scenes is right after we first are introduced to Peacemaker, Bloodsport, and that crew. And they're woken up in the middle of the night and because King Shark's hungry and everybody's camped out in their battle gear. And there's Peacemaker who made the decision to sleep in his underwear on this mission. Was that a conscious character decision between you and James Gunn to do it that way?
If you say between me and James Gunn, I'll split the percentages. 100% James Gunn, 0% me, but 100% into it. That was written in the script from early on. Totally written in the script.
Okay. Moments like that and your new train wreck scene and your butt chugging scene and Blockers, how key was spending so many years performing half naked in jorts in front of thousands and making you comfortable for those kind of movie scenes where,
So it's less about what I wear when I perform and much more about being comfortable with self. Mm-hmm. Here I am completely dressed up as a gimmick talking to you and trying to get some serious information out for people to go see a project that my heart and soul is in. Like, I'm very comfortable with who I am. And if there's anything that I can take away from my WWE existence, WWE has taught me that. Mm-hmm. You, by searching the dates, may or may not be familiar with my past there, but there are some audience members that enjoy my presence and there are some that don't. And I think there's 2 ways you can go when you're told you suck every day. You can wallow in that shame and believe that opinion, or you could take the qualities about yourself that you love, look yourself in the mirror and realize that you're enough, that you have self-worth and self-awareness, and you want to try to grow and become better. And the WWE universe, so to speak, has taught me self-love, that through some tough love, mm-hmm. but taught me self-love. And I think that allows me to do things that are a little bit obscure in some sense. Most of the time wearing very little clothing.
By the time we get to the squad hanging at the nightclub, we don't hate Peacemaker as much by then. We get to hate him a little bit more later, but we won't get into that. The dance moves you're busting though in that club scene, is that you dancing as Peacemaker, or is that just how John Cena gets down?
My sense of getting down is horribly lethargic. It really involves like getting down into a chair and watching the action. So that's definitely Peacemaker doing his best.
Joe, Margot, and Idris told me about the time you kept having to eat empanadas because they kept messing up that rooftop scene. Being around so many cast members in a film like this, and like a lot of really famous cast members as well, do you feel like you learn a little something from everyone?
Oh, I know I do. The saying is true. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And to be surrounded by the guidance of James and a star-studded cast, I got better every day. You learn from everybody. I mean, there's knowledge and wisdom out there every day, regardless of where you're at. It's just if you choose to accept it or not. And man, when you're put in a hypersensitive situation like that with so many accomplished people, yeah, you can become better.
Was there somebody you were maybe internally in awe of being around, or just kind of like acting opposite of?
Margot and Idris, just because they really went full tilt with everything. Idris would leave on the weekends to go DJ in these places around the world, come in on time, prepared, not missed a step. Like he was I couldn't fathom it. And I consider myself somebody who's driven and enjoys the passion for hard work. And Margot as well, promoting Birds of Prey, and just like she kicked ass in every sense of the word, and was always on time, was always there, was always present, was always giving. Like those two had waves of like, I was in disbelief with Margot, and then I turn around and I'm in disbelief with Idris, and they're at the top, and they're setting the tone for what the film is going to be. And I think that made a great impression on not just me, but on the entire cast.
Mm-hmm. This Peacemaker show spins off of the movie, and James said the idea for the show wasn't even hatched until after he was done, with the film. How excited were you to get the call that you were going to play this dude more?
Man, how excited was I to get a phone call saying, we'd like you to be a more involved piece of the DC universe? The answer is extremely excited. Like I get to play a superhero again. That's it. I mean, I'm wearing the costume. I really do enjoy it. I do.
He said that, the series deals a little with the character's right-wing nature, and, he butts up against Danielle Brooks's character. Was that cool for you to have the action stuff, but also a little political bent to, kind of the story you're telling?
I think everybody who watches it on HBO Max is going to take their own point of view from what they see. I never want audiences to feel a certain way. As a lifelong entertainer of live audiences around the world, people will analyze a match that I have, and they'll say it was good because of this. And then you get the person sitting next to them say it was bad because of this. And they're two different good and bads, and they're two different reasons. Mm-hmm. I never want to tell somebody how to feel or certainly what to take away. I can simply hope that they're entertained. And I know the cast we got, and I know James swings really big when he writes material. And I really hope Peacemaker is going to be a series that people are talking about for a ton of reasons. And I think we got something that is going to be conversational and exciting and leave people wanting more.
After working on Squad and F9, and also you also did Vacation Friends and also this show, describe what it was like to come back at Money in the Bank and hear that roar of the crowd again, because you seem to be grinning even more than usual.
It's the best ever. I love the choices I've made. I'm so very happy in what I'm doing. I'm growing as a performer. I'm growing as a professional. I'm growing as a man, as a human being. Man, I wish there was some sort of fountain of youth where I could be a full-time performer and contributor. But I've had an unbelievable stay in the WWE. 15 years as a main player at 250 to 310 performances a year. you need to have that point where you can't be selfish, and you have to be aware that there is a larger picture than you, and the larger picture is the future of the company. And the longer they continue to bet on an aging prospect, that makes that future a little bit less stable. And since I've been gone, selfishly, I miss those moments like Money in the Bank. I miss the roar of the crowd on Monday Night Raw. I can't wait to hear it in Cleveland on Friday. But that's me being selfish. There's also that me who loves the WWE and loves the company. I've said it a million times. I love the guy that runs it. I love the brand. I'll do anything and have done anything for it. And the best way to do that is understand that it needs a logical, definable, concrete future. And that, everybody comes in and everybody goes out. And this is my circle. This is my time. So I'm enjoying it for while I have it. If anything, WWE is real fast moving. So sometimes you're like ultra present and then you forget. Give myself a little bit of time to reflect on those moments rather than like, okay, what's the next one? I think that's a little more special this time around, but it can't, everybody's always a piece, but my piece is a lot more short-term now. And my role is to help the future of a brand that I love.
Well, I think it's really interesting because, you spent so many years in this organization and you're helping young people come up and you're teaching young people. And, it's very much, you're a role model to a next generation of performers. And yet you go into this other field and you're still relatively young. You're still learning from other people. And that's an interesting contrast because, you're both teaching and learning in these different, fields.
And what a brilliant contrast to have, to be a teacher and a student at the same time. And I think that bleeds through to both. I feel very proficient in live performance in the WWE, but then I take a bold swing and do something that's uncomfortable and different. And I realize that I'm the new kid in class and I have to start over again, just like I think of the feelings I had for my first match in WWE back in 2002, where I didn't know up from down. And I slowly, over the course of, time under tension, you learn. I'm paired with people who are better than me. I'm put in environments where people are passionate about their work, and I'm getting better where I feel as if I'm growing as someone who's trying to entertain people on film and in television. And likewise, when I go back to the WWE, that experience of humility and being humble and wanting to absorb. Also, I now need to look at the now, and I can't shake my fist at being like, you guys don't know what you're doing, because back in my day, that's done. If I'm learning from new performers how they're navigating the waters of the now. So, in an environment where I should essentially be a teacher, I find myself being a student, and that's because of where I'm going now. I know I have to shut my mouth, open my ears, and grow.
You mentioned the fast-paced nature of wrestling. When you get to like a film and TV set, that can be, slower. You're waiting around for things to happen, and you might not always be in the scene. What was that? Has that been crazy for you? Or not even crazy, but just kind of like something for you to deal with? Is just kind of like putting on the brakes in terms of like movement and like what you're doing and everything.
That's a great question. It's affected me tremendously personally. That is one of the main reasons why, I made so many bad movies back. Trainwreck was a wonderful opportunity to have to try to fall in love again with the process. But I always, I made a lot of movies starting with The Marine and a lot of WWE films. And I was a 20, 30-year-old man traveling the world, going to these cities with tens of thousands of people screaming your name and hanging on your every motion. And when I was on set and it slows down to a pace where they have to make it look perfect, and I don't necessarily understand that, I used to chastise people for not working as efficiently as the WWE. It's apples to oranges, not the same thing. And as a young man, that really allowed, I failed big. This is kind of my second chance at the movie business, which is all this stuff is mythical in itself, but I wasn't appreciative of the process. I was judgmental and I was apprehensive, and I wanted to be back in the ring. because that's what I loved. I love that fast life. I love that immediate gratification. And then you do that for so long, and you begin to ask yourself as you age into your career, like, why am I still here? It's not because of the fast life. It's not because of the falling down. It's because of the storytelling. And that's when I got an opportunity, with Judd and the crew to be like, hey, we'd like you to do this weird thing. Sure, it's a chance for me to be weird. And I'm playing this one character in WWE, and I've been playing it for so long, and I more than likely won't get any deviation from it. Yeah, I'm going to take that chance. But in taking that chance, I'm also going to know about the process. Mm-hmm. And the process is, hey, we're going to call you in. We may use you for 5 minutes. You may sit there for 10 hours. So I think a sense of setting realistic expectations has helped. And man, it has changed my perspective on the process. It has allowed me to be so much more appreciative to everyone involved. I have the same admiration for, our camera guys. I'm always on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. I'm always talking to Stu, the camera guy at the ramp, and then I'm talking to the people in the camera. Like, I appreciate what everyone does in that company, even lots of the folks that you never see. And I've grown to have that same appreciation now in movies, but it didn't start out that way. And it almost caused this conversation not to happen. So I'm very grateful that I was at least self-aware enough to know that I was really effing up big time, and I should be more appreciative of people and what they do.
In terms of creative fulfillment, is nailing a scene as a screen actor comparable to doing a great promo or having a fantastic match?
There's nothing that compares to a performance in front of a live audience. There just isn't. There's nothing. And I think whenever you get someone on film or television to be in front of a live audience and captivate them with that energy, they'll tell you the same thing. There's just no equal to it. And that's why I couldn't get my head away from it as a young man. Mm. My heart of hearts, I love telling stories and taking chances. And man, it is so nerve-wracking. When this thing comes out August 6th, I love it. I really do love the Suicide Squad. I don't know if everybody else is going to like it. And more than likely, because I know from my experiences in WWE, you can't please everybody. Mm-hmm. So there's some folks that don't like it. And there'll be some folks that don't like me. And there'll be some folks that say some bad stuff. And within that bad stuff, I can use some of it and get to the core of it to be like, oh yeah, you know what? I need to work on this. Time to go practice more. Or they just weren't ready for it. And man, being in front of a live audience is indescribable, but it doesn't take away from the reward of when you put like 90 shooting days into something and all your prep before, and you have to wait for the edit and you have to promote, and then you let it live. And the biggest reward is audiences enjoying it. And I've been through that process when audiences don't enjoy it. And that is humiliating and humble, but also such a great opportunity for growth, such a great opportunity to learn it. And all that opportunity is out there. You just got to be brave enough to listen. If you sucked, you got to be brave enough to listen to why you sucked. Mm-hmm. And go do your best, try to improve.
You've had a couple of books come out recently, Be a Work in Progress, and also Do Your Best Every Day to Do Your Best Every Day. Between those and your Twitter feed, you've been this fountain of positive thoughts, for everyone during the pandemic. How much have you needed yourself hearing those kinds of words to get through the past year?
That is me. And people say like you're a beacon for positive thought. If you look at a lot of those, a lot of them are about failure. A lot of them are about embarrassment. A lot of them are, in a culture of sharing, nobody shares the bad. Everybody shares the good. Everybody's life is awesome. If you look at everybody, it's either awesome or like, I'm upset about this. But I guess me coming to grips with the fact that I'm a human being and I have genuine problems and I have the spectrum of emotions that everyone else has. For me, a step that helped me with that was being brave enough to put it out into the universe in digestible content that could connect us as we. I try often to talk about on Twitter to use the words we and to use our. I'm speaking of what's going on in my own head, but I'm also talking to folks out there. I don't use hashtags. I don't try to be part of other conversations. I let the material live as people would want to use it. Mm-hmm. And started to catch on, and I'm very happy that it did, but I still do it every day for me. It's almost like a mini journal. And if I'm feeling a certain way or if I have some stuff to overcome, a small, open-ended, vague yet inclusive message like that just maybe can point me in the right direction, helps me more than anybody knows. I'm so grateful to everybody on that social network for being tolerant enough to allow me to do this exercise.
The past years brought a lot of new experiences into people's lives. My 8-year-old daughter has gotten into wrestling for the first time, and she told me at dinner last night that I need an attitude adjustment. So that was nice. What's one new thing you've become interested in or got hooked on, during the pandemic?
Being present, man. Being present. And I think being present allows you to explore so many more things. It allows you to dive into a deeper conversation. It allows me to listen to you rather than push my own agenda. It allows me to look around and maybe really feel what I'm passionate about. It allows me to connect closer to the ones I love. Mm-hmm. I've always been driven, and I'm kind of like a hummingbird in some aspects. Like, oh, look at this. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. Mm-hmm. Into just being there and not knowing when it, like, definitive normal is going to come back. So instead of hoping for that, just being in the now, being present is the thing that I'm so happy that I've learned over all this time.
Working with James as a collaborator, did you feel like you were peas in a pod with him from the get-go, in your first meeting and talking about Peacemaker and what, this kind of crazy world he was throwing you in?
Well, I think if you throw us next to each other in a police lineup, no one would say we're peas in a pod. But I really do think we have commonalities in our approach. I think we really enjoy what we do, and we're brave enough to have open discussions about what we want to put forward. And I think that helps with creativity right there. He's a joy to work with. He's a great friend. He's a wonderful business partner. I'm so happy to be involved with him at the level I am, because I know, at the very least, I'm going to get my best from him every second. And because he's up here and I'm down here, I know he's getting the best out of me because he wants to do the best for the project. So I really enjoy our relationship. We have our differences, but we come together to make peace, so to say.
So what's next? I mean, obviously, you're doing a bunch of dates for wrestling. For wrestling dates, you have SummerSlam. What do you go to another film project after that, or where do you go now?
We'll shoot Argyle after that with Matthew Vaughn and a great team he's put together over there in the UK. And then a little bit longer after that, we're going to film another season of Wipeout, which was tremendously successful for TV. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy doing that show. And Nicole's a great co-host, and I can't wait to enjoy some time with her again, telling some jokes and her making fun of me. I don't know the future or I don't know my future in the Fast universe, but I know that they're gearing up to light those tires again. And I'm crossing my fingers and hoping I'm involved. Peacemaker is going to come out in January on HBO Max. We just launched a trailer for Vacation Friends. Mm-hmm. And man, if I got some more time to breathe, it'd be nice to be back around WWE audiences a little bit. That'd be, that's something I'm not afraid to look at as well.
Well, in terms of the, finding time to breathe, is it hard, or do you have to tell people, hey, I need time for this, right? Do you have to carve out that time for yourself?
You do. And I think there's a lot of shame involved with, openly saying, I need time for me. People view that as selfish. The way I view it is, if you run right, if you're running correctly, then you're just easier to deal with, and everybody around you is going to feed off that energy, and hopefully everybody else gets lifted up. We seem to be able to do this with physical fitness quite easy. Mm-hmm. I need to work out to be in shape. Sometimes I need some recovery. I can't go today, but then again, I need to go again. Like, we understand concepts like that when it comes to health and fitness, but we shy away from leaning into those conversations when it comes to emotional fitness. So it is okay to say you need a day. It is okay to say, I need to take a breath to refocus. I just love what I do so much. We wrapped Peacemaker on Tuesday, and I was at Money in the Bank on Sunday. I just, I don't know. I really enjoy this whole ride, and I want to make the most of it, and we'll see where it goes.
Now, in terms of the costume, what when you were presented with the costume, was it all there, or did you guys add different pieces.
Oh, I'm not.
Stuff out.
Costume designers are very gracious. That's what a tough job that is, to get professional acclaim for what you do, and then have someone with little to no experience come in and tell you how to do your job. Like, I don't know how to do costuming. I have no idea. But when a very acclaimed costume designer makes this for Peacemaker and says, "How do you like it?" It's perfect. I love it, because I don't want to put an idea in her head or that team's head that they may have to change just out of my comfort, my ignorance, or my convenience.
Mm-hmm.
I want that group of the best individuals to do their job the best they can. And I think a lot of that involves me giving them the freedom to do the job.
How many helmets and costumes do you have, or do you have to clean it pretty often?
Like the WWE Championship, once you got it, but then you eventually got to give it back. So I don't have one to my name, and the costume itself is kind of like the Stanley Cup. It walks around with handlers because it's a two-person gig to put on. So I'm not responsible for the costume. It just follows me around, like all of my bad decisions in life.
So you don't carry around the helmet like you did with like the title belt or anything?
I won't let you. No.
Oh, okay. When you had the belt and when you would carry it around, was that always something fun for you to have, to be able to have that? You didn't have to give that back at the end of the night. You did get to keep it.
It's a conversation piece. I mean, the folks at TSA, when they scan that thing, it's quite unfamiliar to them. So you're always the one trying to explain yourself, and it's a conversation piece. So it's every blessing comes with its slight amount of weight, and that is a blessing that comes with a burden as well.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out these other videos from USA Today Entertainment to stay up to date on all of the latest celebrity news.